Welcome back to TRP Podcasts. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into something pretty interesting. It's the connection between Elon Musk and the new president. Kind of feels like a roller coaster, you know?
Yeah, definitely a lot of potential ups and downs for sure.
For sure.
I think the most interesting thing is how much Musk was involved in this election.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about, like a little endorsement or a tweet or two.
Right.
He put serious money into this.
Yeah, over $130 million.
Or, $130 million. And he even spent election night with the winning candidate in Florida.
Wow.
This wasn't just, I like this candidate kind of thing. This was like a real strategic move.
Okay, so he put a lot of chips on the table.
Yeah.
What's he looking to get out of it?
Right.
I mean, is it just about having a friend in the Oval Office? Or is there more to it?
It definitely feels like he's aiming for more than just like a friendly handshake. There's even been talk of him getting, an official role in the administration. So, wow.
Possibly even something focused on cutting government spending. Imagine the influence that he would have if he was in charge of deciding where those cuts happen.
That's a lot of power for somebody who, already runs these huge companies like Tesla and SpaceX.
Exactly.
And X.
All right.
It just feels like he's positioned to really shake things up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Tesla could benefit a lot from policies that encourage electric vehicles and self-driving cars.
Right.
SpaceX could be in line for, lucrative government contracts for space exploration. And X, the platform, formerly known as Twitter, could be right at the center of debates about online speech and information.
Wow, so it's kind of like a domino effect.
Yeah.
Like one move just triggers this whole chain reaction.
Yeah.
But hold on a sec. The winning candidate is known for being a bit unpredictable.
Right.
I mean, didn't he used to criticize electric vehicles? He did. That's what makes this this whole situation so interesting.
Yeah.
There are some reports that the winning candidate's stance on EVs has really softened since Musk's endorsement. He's even gone as far as praising them, on a few occasions.
So is this like a real change of heart, or is it just all part of the political game?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this like a real alliance built on shared beliefs, or is this just a temporary thing based on convenience?
Right.
I mean, only time will tell.
And speaking of time, this whole thing could have long-lasting effects. I mean, it's not like Musk is just thinking about this election.
Right.
He's already setting up his political action committee for future campaigns.
Yeah.
So this isn't a one-time gamble. This is like a long-term investment in shaping, the political landscape.
Yeah. And that's where things get really interesting. Imagine him using all his wealth and influence to push for policies that benefit his companies. Not just, in the next 4 years, but for decades to come.
Yeah, but let's not forget the potential for things to go wrong here. Yeah. I mean, both Musk and the winning candidate, they're known for being pretty strong personalities. They don't always see eye to eye on everything, especially when it comes to things like government subsidies for electric vehicles. I mean, could this alliance be like a powder keg?
It's definitely possible. I mean, the winning candidate has a history of turning on even his most loyal supporters.
Right.
So the long-term outcome for Musk is anything but certain. This partnership could be incredibly beneficial, but it could also backfire spectacularly.
All right. So we've got this powerful billionaire, a president known for being really unpredictable.
Yeah.
And there's just a ton of potential for both collaboration and conflict.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here?
Well, I think to really understand what's at stake here, we need to take a closer look at the specific areas where Musk could use his influence. Yeah. Like, what policies could he change? What industries could be disrupted? And what does all this mean for the average person?
That sounds like a great place to pick up.
And it's fascinating to see how Musk's support has already had an impact on the president,
Oh, yeah.
Even before he officially takes office.
Tell me more about that.
Well, you remember how the winning candidate used to be pretty critical of electric vehicles? Well, after Musk endorsed him, there was a noticeable shift.
Really?
He even started praising EVs.
Interesting.
You think he really had a change of heart, or is he just trying to keep Musk on his good side?
Yeah, is this genuine or just part of the game?
Right. It's really hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what makes all of this so interesting. It really highlights how political alliances can be very fluid, changing as circumstances do.
Okay, let's talk about the potential impact on Musk's companies then.
Sure.
Tesla's obviously a global brand, but it still relies pretty heavily on U.S. policies,
It does.
especially when it comes to electric vehicles.
Absolutely. One area where things could get really interesting is with self-driving cars.
Oh, yeah.
Tesla is all in on this technology, but regulations are still being worked out.
Right. And if Musk gets that role in the administration,
Yeah,
he could have a big say in how those regulations are shaped.
exactly.
He could push for faster adoption of self-driving cars, which would be huge for Tesla.
He could, but it's not a simple equation.
Right.
There are concerns about safety and oversight.
Yeah.
Rushing this technology to market without the proper safeguards could have some serious consequences.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's like walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
On one hand, you want to encourage innovation,
Right.
but on the other hand, you need to make sure it's done responsibly.
Absolutely.
What about SpaceX? They already work pretty closely with NASA.
They do.
But could Musk's influence give them even more of an edge?
It's definitely possible. Imagine SpaceX securing contracts for lunar missions or even that ambitious Mars colonization project,
Wow.
with Musk potentially having a direct line to the White House.
Right.
They could be in a prime position.
Okay, so Tesla and SpaceX could see some major benefits.
Yeah.
What about X, though? The platform formerly known as Twitter.
Right.
How might all of these political connections affect that?
That's where things get even more complicated.
Yeah.
X is such a powerful platform for communication and information.
It is.
And it's already been caught up in so many controversies around misinformation and political bias.
Yeah, especially with Musk's history of using X to voice his opinions and,
Exactly.
Getting these public spats.
Exactly. Now imagine him with even more political clout.
Yeah.
There are serious questions about how he might use the platform.
Right.
Whether it's to further his own agenda, promote certain viewpoints, or even pressure lawmakers.
It raises all sorts of concerns about freedom of speech,
It does.
censorship, and the influence of social media on democracy.
For sure. And remember, the winning candidate has that reputation for turning on his allies.
Right.
What happens if they clash over something related to X?
Yeah.
It could create a huge political and media storm.
So we've talked about the potential benefits for Musk's companies, but it sounds like there are also a lot of risks and ethical considerations.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like he's playing a high-stakes game, and the outcome is far from certain.
It really is, and it's not just about him and his companies.
Right.
His actions could have ripple effects across entire industries, even globally.
Wow.
What he does with his political influence could impact the future of transportation, space exploration, and even the way we communicate.
It's almost like he's a character in a sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
Someone who could shape the future with his decisions.
And it's a future that we're all going to be a part of.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So speaking of the future, what does all of this mean for the average person? What should our listeners be thinking about?
Right.
Yeah, it really is mind-blowing to think that one person can have so much influence over things that affect all of us. Should billionaires really have this much power?
It's a question a lot of people are asking.
Yeah.
And this situation with Musk and the new president, it really brings that question into focus.
Right.
It makes you think about, the balance of power in our society and how these decisions get made.
Yeah, because it's not just about, electric cars or spaceships.
Right.
It's about the kind of world we want to live in.
Exactly.
Do we want a future where a handful of powerful people are calling all the shots?
Right.
Or do we want one where everybody has a say?
And that's why it's so important to, pay attention to what's happening right now.
Yeah.
This isn't just the future of technology, the role of government, and ultimately the kind of society that we're creating.
So what can we do? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by all of this.
Well, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
The more informed we are, the better equipped we are to participate in these conversations.
Yeah.
So we can stay informed about the policies that are being debated,
Right.
the companies that are pushing the boundaries, and the potential consequences of all these decisions.
And we can make our voices heard.
Right.
Absolutely. Like engage in discussions.
Yes.
Contact our elected officials.
Yeah.
And support organizations that align with our values.
Exactly. This isn't a spectator sport. We all have a role to play in shaping the future.
Right.
And while the outcome of this particular situation is still uncertain, one thing's for sure. The choices that get made in the coming years are going to have a huge impact on all of us.
So to wrap things up here, it sounds like the takeaway is to stay engaged,
Yeah.
Stay informed.
Stay informed.
And keep asking the tough questions.
Exactly.
Because the future is still being written.
Yeah, that's right.
And we all have a part in the story.
We do.